That orange slice on your sandwich might not legally be allowed to call itself cheese. Some of the biggest names in the dairy aisle use a label loophole that lets them skip real cheese entirely, replacing it with oil, water, and emulsifying salts, then coloring it to look identical to the real thing. Others pack in more sodium than a bag of chips. Today, we're ranking 11 popular cheese brands from concerning to genuinely shocking, then showing you the 4 brands that actually deliver what's on the label. Number 1 will change how you shop forever. Cheese feels like one of the simplest foods you can buy: milk, salt, cultures, time. But the FDA has strict rules about what can legally be called cheese, and a huge portion of what's sold in the dairy aisle doesn't meet that bar. Instead, it's labeled cheese product, cheese food, or pasteurized prepared cheese. Technical terms most shoppers scroll right past. The difference isn't just legal semantics. It affects sodium levels, ingredient quality, and how your body processes what you're eating. We reviewed ingredient labels, sodium content, and food science research to separate real cheese from cleverly disguised imitations. Let's start with the most iconic offender in the dairy case. Number 11, Kraft Singles. Kraft Singles are the default cheese slice in millions of American households, built into school lunches and grilled cheese sandwiches for generations. But look closely at the package, and you'll see it doesn't say cheese. It says pasteurized prepared cheese product, a specific FDA labeling category that exists because the product doesn't contain enough actual cheese to qualify under federal standards of identity. The formula relies on milk, whey, and milk protein concentrate, blended with emulsifiers like sodium phosphate to create that perfectly uniform melt. One slice carries around 200 to 240 milligrams of sodium, meaningful when you're stacking 2 or 3 slices onto a sandwich. The takeaway: the smooth, consistent melt you love comes from engineering, not aging. Next, a spreadable classic that's beloved at parties, and almost entirely built on emulsifiers instead of cheese culture. Number 10, Velveeta. Velveeta doesn't even try to call itself cheese. The box says pasteurized recipe cheese product, and that honesty is actually part of its appeal. People know exactly what they're buying. The problem is what's inside: whey, milk protein concentrate, and sodium phosphate, an emulsifying salt that gives Velveeta its signature never separates melt. A 1-ounce serving carries roughly 410 milligrams of sodium, nearly double a slice of real cheddar. The American Heart Association recommends most adults stay under 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day, and ideally closer to 1,500. A queso dip made with Velveeta can quietly eat up a third of that daily limit in a single sitting. Up next, a shredded staple that hides an ingredient most shoppers never notice. Number 9, Kraft Shredded Parmesan. Real Parmesan is made from just milk, salt, cultures, and rennet, aged for months. But pre-shredded Parmesan in the green shaker-style container often contains cellulose, a plant fiber used as an anti-caking agent to keep shreds from clumping. In small amounts, cellulose is considered safe by the FDA, but a 2016 Bloomberg investigation tested several shredded Parmesan products and found cellulose levels in some brands far higher than what's typically needed for anti-clumping alone. Some samples also contained little to no actual Parmesan at all in their filler content, according to that investigation. The takeaway: shredded doesn't always mean simple, and a block of real Parmesan you grate yourself avoids the issue completely. Next, a snack cheese marketed directly at kids and lunchboxes. Number 8, Baby Bell Original. Baby Bell built its identity on the fun red wax and portion-controlled size, making it a lunchbox favorite for parents who want something that feels wholesome and pre-portioned. The cheese itself is a genuine semi-soft cheese, which is a point in its favor. But each piece still carries around 160 milligrams of sodium, and the wax coating, while food-safe, isn't compostable or easily recyclable in most municipal systems, something environmentally conscious parents often don't realize until they're already tossing dozens of little red shells a month. Nutritionally, it's one of the better options on this list. The bigger issue here is packaging waste, not the cheese itself. We're about a third of the way through. If you've spotted your own fridge staple already, drop it in the comments. You're likely not the only one surprised. Number 7. Sargento Shredded Mexican Blend. Sargento markets itself as a more natural shredded cheese brand, and the base cheese is generally real. But shredded cheese blends like this one contain potato starch or powdered cellulose as anti-caking agents, along with natamycin, a mold inhibitor sprayed on the surface to extend shelf life. Natamycin is FDA approved and used widely in the dairy industry, but it means the shredded cheese in your fridge is treated differently than a block you'd shred yourself. Shredded cheese also loses moisture faster once opened, which is why bagged shreds often dry out or clump within a week or two. The takeaway: buying a block and shredding it fresh avoids the anti-caking coating entirely. Next, a snack cheese brand that leans hard on the word natural, while quietly reformulating. Number 6. Sargento String Cheese. String cheese is often recommended as a healthier snack because of its protein content, and Sargento's version delivers a genuine 8 grams of protein per stick from real low-moisture mozzarella. But each stick also carries roughly 200 milligrams of sodium and multiple sticks a day, common for parents packing snacks for kids. Adds up quickly without anyone tracking it. Registered dietitians note that string cheese is a solid protein source, but caution that treating it as an unlimited snack ignores its sodium contribution over a full day of eating. The lesson? It's a genuinely good option, just not a sodium-free one. Coming up, a cream cheese brand facing scrutiny over what reduced fat actually means for the rest of the formula. Number 5. Philadelphia Cream Cheese Light. Philadelphia built decades of trust around the original block, but the light version reveals a pattern seen across the processed food industry. When fat is removed, something else fills the gap. The light version replaces milk fat with added gums like carob bean gum and guar gum to maintain the creamy texture, along with slightly more sodium per serving than the full-fat original. Food scientists point out that reduced fat products frequently compensate with added stabilizers or sugar to preserve mouthfeel, meaning the calorie savings often come with a trade-off. Shoppers don't see coming. The takeaway: read the full ingredient list, not just the light claim on the front. Next, a slice of cheese most people don't even realize belongs to a massive parent company with a long processed food track record. Number 4. Land O'Lakes American Cheese. American cheese slices from Land O'Lakes carry a more premium farm brand image than Kraft singles, but many varieties fall into the same pasteurized processed cheese category, rather than qualifying as natural cheese. Processed cheese is made by blending real cheese with emulsifying salts, water, and sometimes whey, then heating it into that signature smooth, meltable texture. A serving can carry over 300 milligrams of sodium, and the process designation means it went through significant additional manufacturing beyond simple aging. The takeaway: the farm imagery on the package doesn't change the manufacturing category listed in small print on the back. 2 spots before the worst offender, and this next one might surprise you because it's marketed as the healthy swap. Number 3. Kraft 2% Milk Shredded Cheddar. Reduced fat cheese is often marketed to health-conscious shoppers as the smarter choice, but removing fat from cheese creates a texture problem, since fat is what gives cheese its meltability and flavor carrier. To compensate, many 2% shredded cheeses add extra sodium and stabilizers to make up for the lost mouthfeel. Nutrition researchers have pointed out that reduced fat dairy products frequently match or exceed the sodium content of their full-fat counterparts, meaning shoppers cutting fat for health reasons may simply be trading one concern for another. The takeaway: if sodium is your priority, 2% milk on the label doesn't automatically mean healthier. Next, a spray cheese so processed it barely qualifies as food in the traditional sense. Number 2. Easy Cheese Aerosol. Easy cheese is fun by design. A novelty product meant for parties and nostalgia, not everyday nutrition. But it's telling that the ingredient list starts with whey and milk protein concentrate rather than cheese, and it relies on sodium phosphate and sorbic acid to stay shelf-stable and sprayable at room temperature for months. A serving carries around 320 milligrams of sodium in just 2 tablespoons, an amount most people blow past in seconds of spraying onto crackers. This one earns its spot not because anyone's fooled by the marketing, but because it represents how far a product can drift from cheese while still legally using the word on the can. And now, the brand that tops this list, not for one dramatic issue, but for how completely it built trust around a product that barely resembles cheese at all. Number 1. Kraft Deli Deluxe American. Kraft Deli Deluxe positions itself as a step above regular singles. Deli style, thicker cut, real cheese taste printed right on the package. But like Kraft singles, it's still classified as pasteurized processed cheese, built from a blend of cheeses, whey, and emulsifiers rather than a single aged cheese. It carries some of the highest sodium content on this list, often exceeding 300 milligrams per slice, and multiple slices are common for a single deli-style sandwich. What earns it the top spot is the marketing gap. Deli Deluxe implies a step toward artisan quality, when the manufacturing process is nearly identical to the standard singles it's positioned above. Now that you know what to watch for, here are the 4 cheeses worth actually buying. The 4 cheeses worth buying. Cabot Vermont Cheddar, block. A genuine aged cheddar with a short ingredient list. Milk, salt, cultures, enzymes. No emulsifiers, no fillers. Organic Valley Raw Sharp Cheddar, made from grass-fed milk with no added stabilizers, and independently verified organic sourcing throughout the supply chain. President Feta, block in brine. Traditional feta production with just 4 ingredients, and buying the block instead of pre-crumbled avoids the anti-caking additives common in crumbled feta. Belgioioso fresh mozzarella, made using traditional stretching techniques with milk, salt, and cultures only, and consistently rated by cheese industry reviewers as one of the most authentic, widely available mozzarellas. The lesson is simple. If the label says cheese product instead of cheese, you're paying for engineering, not aging. Flip the package before you buy. If this changed how you'll shop next time, hit like, subscribe for more food investigations, and tell us in the comments which cheese surprised you most.